I asked and you responded. Listen to the stories of some people who've actually used pepper spray to defend themselves against Trump humpers who are trying to blow viruses around. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Paul in Lucerne, California. Hey, Paul, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Tom. Well, your pepper spray. You don't want to pepper spray somebody. You can cause blindness. So what you want to do is you want to use bear spray. Bear spray will not cause blindness. It's made with a totally different chemical. And it's way more effective. Yeah. And
I thought they were the same thing.
No, they're not. And one more quick thing, okay? If you're going to, in California, if someone coughs on you, you could actually call the police and have them arrested for assault. And if they have coronavirus, they'll be charged with assault with a deadly weapon. So,
well, if that's the case, you should be able to defend yourself with mace or bear spray or whatever you can.
You can. When someone's coughing on you in California, spray them in the mouth with bear spray. We've done it. I've done it.
You've done it?
And you should see. Yeah, some dude was coughing on me at the store, and I said, "Step back," and he stepped closer. I said, "Okay," right to the face, right in his open yelling mouth.
Whoa!
And he called
and what
the police
happened?
on me, and he called the police on me, and the police said, "No, you used proportionate response. You are considered to be deadly. You're breathing on him. He gave you plenty of warning, and he sprayed you with a warning shot. If you weren't within distance of him, you wouldn't have been sprayed."
So he called the police, and the police actually showed up at this store where you were when this guy was blowing his air at you.
Yes.
And what was it, a single police officer or a bunch of them or what?
No, it was a Clear Lake police officer, and he showed up, and he told the guy that since the guy was breathing on me, that we could both press charges on each other, basically.
Wow.
It would have been a lot.
So you sprayed him with you used your bear spray.
Yeah, I used my bear spray. Yeah, and the reason why is because bear spray does not blind you. It will. You can spray a whole can in your face. And my friend rode his bike, and we live in a rural area, and he crashed his bike, and the whole can blew up into his face. So we called poison control, and then we called bear spray company, and they said you can have the whole. Because you can't have blind bears in the woods.
Right.
But pepper spray can blind you if you get sprayed enough of it in your face.
Sure. So yeah, it burns the cornea. So the bear spray is that like mace? Is it like I remember back in the '60s when they were tear gassing us at Michigan State University, they rolled out this new kind of gas. It was called CN or CS, I forget which. They had these two different kinds. And it was more of a nerve gas. It was kind of upgraded tear gas. And I think that's what they're using these days when they call it tear gas. Is that the kind of stuff that's in the bear spray, Paul?
That's exactly what it is. No, bear spray is made with different chemicals. There's just none of it's different types of peppers, but they put a chemical in there so it won't burn you. It burns you, but it won't chemically. I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not a chemist.
Yeah, so it feels like crap, but it's not going to injure you. I guess would be the way to say it. Is bear spray a brand name, or are you speaking about a generic product?
No, any bear spray will do this. They can't call it
so there is a category of these things called bear sprays.
Yes, and you want to use them because they're way more effective. Because for one, they spray out a stream, and you can get them.
Right. Amazing. Okay. Paul, thank you. Thanks for that story. That's amazing. Mo, last question. It's our question of the day for our listeners. This guy in Germany has been arrested for pepper spraying a jogger who ran by him within a foot and a half of him refusing to wear a mask. And the guy was wearing a mask, the 71-year-old. And so, our question, is it appropriate to use bear spray if somebody gets in your face and starts, yelling Trump stuff at you without a mask?
I predict that we will end up with, if the longer this pandemic continues to survive and just haunt us all in our daily lives, I actually do believe that there will come a time where it will be okay to use bear spray on somebody who refuses to wear a mask, whether it's within 6 feet of you. And I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I, as an openly gay man growing up in the AIDS pandemic, it eventually became criminal, if you will recall, and it still is in many jurisdictions, to knowingly engage in behavior that could pass on the HIV virus. And I actually believe we're going to end up there with this virus as well. It's lethal. And if you know that you have it, or you know that you could have it, and you put somebody else at jeopardy, I don't see how that is not criminally liable.
Fascinating times we live in, right? Alejandro in Miami. Hey, Alejandro, what's up?
Hello, Tom. I just wanted to, discuss the whole tort debate you were mentioning about whether someone is committing a battery. Whether you have the right of self-defense to use bear mace, and I just want to point out how tricky that is. Very legal, legal scenario. It just reminds me of my tort class. I'm a lawyer, went to law school and stuff. So, for us, what a battery means, this is like under, general negligence law, like tort law, is a common law. A battery is the tort of intentionally and voluntarily bringing about an unconsented, harmful, or offensive contact with a person or to something closely associated with them, such as a bag or purse. So I definitely see at first glance when you said that story about the German, jogger, I would have said, no, he has no right to use bear mace because you just can't bear mace people indiscriminately just because you're afraid of getting too close to you. If you just happen to walk by and there's a potential slippery slope there of, well, I can just spray everybody who gets too close to me.
Well, there is actually right now in Germany a law. I mean, they're enforcing it in different ways around the country, but social distancing, keeping 6 feet away from people is the law in many parts of Germany. I don't know if it is in this particular town of Aachen, but, back to you, Alejandro.
No. Well, I mean, definitely. Well, definitely don't claim to be a German civil law expert. I only speak about U.S. common law.
Me neither.
Right. No, it's just important. I mean, maybe if that's the case, and that would change the argument over there. But definitely in the U.S., I'm just going off generalities, of course, and then it can go to specific scenarios. Generally, right? Okay. This is what we do in law school, go for hypotheticals. In certain instances, maybe bear mace can be used as self-defense. I just think in the first scenario, if you're just walking by and just someone gets too close to you, I don't think you can bear mace them because I think that would be a battery onto them, right? Even though, of course, no one should get within 6 feet of you because of the coronavirus pandemic going around. However, what that person said earlier about the HIV pandemic, I think is very applicable here. When the HIV/AIDS, where there's laws against people, purposely transmitting AIDS or engaging in conduct that would transmit AIDS or HIV. The same can be said for coronavirus. You could definitely criminalize that. If you have, if you're positive, like how Trump was, and you go to rallies or you go to close contact with people knowing that you have a deadly disease that could kill someone, I definitely think that's a battery because obviously that you're engaging in harmful conduct. I mean, and there's definitely physical contact there because it goes
to get very serious about this, Alejandro, back in the 80s, and this is, Moe is speaking to this as an openly gay man. Back in the 80s, there were a number of states, mostly Republican-controlled states, that, and in fact, this was something that the Republicans actually ran on in the elections of 84 and 86. There were states that passed laws specifically criminalizing basically gay sex because if you, they didn't know what caused AIDS back then. And there was this thing about, oh, well, maybe, if you have sex with if a gay man has sex with another person, then he could be spreading HIV. So they were trying to criminalize gay sex or gay behavior, not just kissing and everything else, based on HIV specifically. Some states named HIV because somewhere in the middle of there, they figured out that it was this one particular virus, or maybe it was toward the end of that. But other states didn't name the virus. They simply said, if you knowingly, spread a communicable and deadly disease to another person, you're guilty of a felony. And therefore, in those states, I think that that law could be applied to somebody like the person who got up in Louise's face here, a week or so ago and started yelling at her to go on YouTube and check out the conspiracy videos that would prove to her that masks are a hoax, right? I mean, this guy was dead serious about this, and he was getting close.
Yeah, no, and I think in those scenarios where somebody gets too close, whether they know it or not, but they should know better because there's a pandemic going around. So I would say there's a duty for other people not to infect others. You don't have and I think this reminds me of what a judge in West Palm Beach said about regarding mask mandates and some plaintiffs were challenging that. And I think the judge was very correct in his decision. He said, you don't have a right to infect others. And I think that's very important to understand, especially with those, supposed freedom-loving people. Oh, the mask is, wearing a mask is, muzzle or whatever. That's nonsense. That's nonsense under the law. The state has the police powers to enforce health mandates. There's nothing unconstitutional about that. It's not depriving your freedom. Coronavirus doesn't care about your freedom. So I think it's definitely important to.
Yeah. Brent in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, Brent, what's on your mind today?
Hello.
Brent?
Can you
Hey,
hear
you're
me?
on the air.
Okay.
I certainly can.
I see no difference between warning somebody and spraying them with bear spray than those inane laws in Florida where they can just, because they felt threatened, they can shoot people, And
You're right. This is stand your ground.
That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't think of it. Thank you. It's the same as stand your ground. So I think the spraying is totally legit. Either that or just stand your ground and shoot them, Which would
well, in Florida, apparently you can get away with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever threat that George Zimmer thought Trayvon Martin represented to him, having somebody breathe a deadly virus on you has to trump that. It has to be a bigger threat.